All right, check this bike out. This is a 1996 RMZ 250. So I have never owned a bike like this before or worked in a bike like this before. So this will be interesting to all of us today. So a subscriber actually dropped off this bike. So he said that he got it from a guy for pretty cheap. I think he paid like 1,200 bucks for it. He stuck a bunch of money into it. He rebuilt the top end on it because he said it had lower compression when he bought it. So he put a brand new top end on it. I think he got a Weissco piston for it. He said that the cylinder was scored a little bit, but he honed it out. So he did everything correctly. And then within 5 hours of riding it, he said it stopped starting up. So now he can't start it for some reason. So it does have a brand new top end in it. And he said he can't get it to start. So just looking over the bike, you can see it was pretty beat on. The paint is interesting on it. Like I told the subscriber when he came here, it looks like somebody tried to paint it Starry Night. Like I don't know if they're going black and then with stars in it. I'm not really sure what the paint theme they were going after was, but it's kind of unique. And then it looks like they painted the frame red. And this was all done before the owner now that has it owned it, so he did not paint it like this. I think his plan for it is to get it all back to stock and all original. But you can see it's kind of a weird paint theme going on. And it's like darker up here, so it looks like they faded into red, kind of. I don't really know what was going on. But the VIN, the 10th letter on the VIN is a T, and the VIN is visible. So it is in fact a 1996. It's got a different pipe on it. Gold Series fatty FMF pipe. I believe a silencer as well. And he said this wasn't really held on too well. But he said it did rip at one point, but he said he was riding it and it was fine, put it in storage, and then he tried to start it up again and it was not starting up. So he doesn't really know what is wrong with it, so that's why I'm here. So we're going to check this bike out today, see if we can get it to run, and if not, we'll tear it down and see what went wrong. But yeah, pretty cool bike. They're not that much different than the RM 250s. I think the only difference is like the headlight. And I believe you could make these street legal in certain states. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but yeah, let's just see if it shifts through the gears. Looks like it's got a Moose Racing shifter on it. We'll start with that. See if it has every gear here. There's first, second, third, fourth, fifth. So all the gears seem to work here. So bottom end should be fine. Should we check the oil? We'll see if the oil's milky and if there's any in there. Could be a bad water pump seal. Alright, let's just see here. Ooh, looks like brand new oil. So yeah, it's definitely a brand new top end. You can see it barely has any ride time. Looks brand new. It's not milky, so water pump seal must be working. It's not milky at all. So that's good. So like for the bottom end, it seems like the bottom end is fine. Everything in the bottom end is fine. Let's see if it's using any coolant up at the top here. He said he topped it off and he rebuilt it, so let's just see if there's any coolant in here still. Oh yeah, it's all the way at the top. So it's not using coolant, so I don't think it's a head gasket that went. I suspect he used brand new gaskets when rebuilding it. Yeah, you can see the green gasket in there, if we look. So I'm guessing he put new gaskets on. One thing to note is it does have a fake Keihin carb on it. So So he said he bought this thinking it was an original Keihin carb, but he got it and he said that was fake. There's not a serial number on part of the carburetor, which it should have. So he said that it's a fake one, but it did run good with it at one point. So the carburetor shouldn't be a problem, he said. But yeah, that's just something to note. A lot of fakes out there, so be careful when you're buying those. All right, before we dig into it too much, let's just try to start it up and see what happens. See if it backfires, see what, just see what the compression feels like. Just kind of get a feel for the bike. And maybe it'll start up, we'll see. Yeah, it's just pretty easy to kick over. So I'm suspecting low compression. Let's just check to see if it's getting gas first. So to me, it felt pretty easy to kick over. I mean, there's a little compression there, but for 250, I feel like it should have a little bit more. Just by doing the quick hand test, you should be able to get to this point, and then it should like slowly go down. With me, it goes all the way down pretty easily, so that's usually not a great sign. All right, here's the gas line right here. Pretty hardened up, it feels like. Let's get that line off. See if we're getting good gas flow. I've seen bikes not run just because the petcock's clogged and it's not getting gas flow, and people forget to check it. Gas flowing out of it. Oh yeah, you can see it, good gas flow. So I don't think that's the problem. Let's see the other way. Yeah, good gas flow the other way too. Yeah. So that is not the problem, unfortunately, and it looks like it was mixed correctly. Looks pretty rich. So I don't know if it was running lean or not. We'll have to investigate the carburetor too and just see what the jets are supposed to be. And I don't know if it's a big bore or what, so maybe it was running lean. All right, the plug I think we can get out through here. I think we got a little port access here to use the pliers in there. Come out of here. We'll see how it was running. Might have been running lean and maybe it blew up again. We will see here. It's always a mystery working on these things. Ooh. Big chunk of something on the spark plug. See that? Lots of carbon buildup, it looks like. Plug was running okay. It's not white or anything. So if anything, it was running rich. Looks like there's a lot of carbon built up in there. Let's see if we have any spark. Could just be a fouled out plug. We don't know until we try it here. Alright. You guys take a peek in there. I'll kick it over. Shouldn't be hard to kick over. You guys can see that. Looks like we've got good spark. Alright, we've got good spark. So it's not that. I guess let's get a compression tester in there and see what kind of compression we have. I was just coming over here to do the compression test and check that out. Look at the carburetor. It's not all the way on to the boot. So I'm wondering if there's a big air leak right there. See that? So I don't know if he had it out, cleaning out the carburetor, put it back in like that, or if it was always like that, or what, but we'll have to try shoving that in a little bit further if the compression test checks out here. Get this compression tester in here. All right, I guess we'll kick this thing over and we'll see what we get here. All right, check that out. Want that to stay in there. All right, throttle open. Oh, I mean, it's not that low. It's like 132. It should definitely run with 132 pounds of compression. Ha ha ha. I was expecting it to be less than 100. That's really not that low. Let's see if it goes up any higher. Yeah, it's stuck at like 132. So it's a little bit low for 250, but it should still run. Let's see what happens when we add oil to it. This is kind of weird. I was expecting it to be a lot lower. Just gonna put some 2-stroke oil down the cylinder. And what this will do is tell us if the rings are bad. So if the compression goes up with the oil in the cylinder, that means the rings are failing, or there's a big scratch in the cylinder. So we'll see. Again, you want to do this throttle open. So we're going to repeat the same test. Now we have oil in the cylinder. Should be a lot harder to kick over, I would think. Lower compression. So it's not rings. That's weird. What the heck? Could be head gasket, but we're not losing coolant. Lower compression, 120 now. Huh. That is very, very odd. Yeah, it's not going up at all. So it looks like the rings are fine. Huh. That is very, very weird. Alright, so I thought it was for sure the ring was stuck in the piston or something. So it's super smooth in there. Huh. This one's stumping me. Let's get that carburetor off next. So you can see that's hardly on there. Alright, let's see what's going on with the carburetor. You know, maybe the pilot was the wrong one in there, or something weird. We'll see what the air screw was at as well. Maybe that was a little bit off. You know, maybe there's water in the gas. Check all that stuff out. Off here. Oh, that was pretty easy to get off. And we'll check that manifold out as well. Make sure there are no cracks in that. Yeah, slides in the correct way. See if there's any gas in the bowl here. Maybe it's just not getting gas to the carb, which could definitely be a possibility. Let's go over here and see if it drains out. See if anything's in here. Feels like there is. Yeah, there's definitely gas in the carb. Huh. A lot of gas in the carb. Alright, let's open it up and see what that looks like on the inside. Alright, so far this one's still a mystery. Let's try to see if we can solve it by opening up this carburetor here. Maybe this will tell us what's going on. Alright, let's see what's going on. It's getting stuck in there. The heck is getting stuck in there? There we go. What the heck? Needle came out. Kind of weird. Yeah, it looks like a brand new carburetor. Everything's clean. $170 for the main. Let's get that out of there. Sounds about right for a 250. We'll check and see what it's supposed to be at. Seems about right though. They're key hingettes as well. There's it right there. So we're at about one turn out on the air screw. There's a spring. Alright, so the pilot jet is heavily clogged. Tried to blow through it a couple times and it's not doing anything. So it's running a 50 for the pilot, so it's definitely big enough. But we'll clean up the rest of the carburetor, blow through that with the air compressor, and clean all the jets. Put it back together and see if it starts up. Alright, we got the carburetor back on. Let's just check the air filter first before we kick it over any further. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. So So air filter checks out, so maybe it was just the pilot jet. All right, let's see if she fires up here. All right, we're gonna put some gas directly down the cylinder. Doesn't want to start. All right, we've got gas directly down the cylinder. Nothing. All right, we're gonna try a different spark plug. All right, let's try this one more time. We've got a brand new plug in there now. All right, well, she fired up, so it must have been the plug. And I knew it would kind of start because the IT200 we worked on, that only had 120 pounds of compression. And that fired right up, so, and that had really good power. So these bikes will probably start at 90 PSI. So anything above that, you've got other issues, so I kind of knew we had something else going on. All right, so just took this thing for a test drive. It runs pretty decent. But at top speed it bogs down pretty good, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. And then it doesn't really like to idle that well. It kind of feels like it's like low compression, you know, how you have to keep the idle up really high for it to even run. And it's really hard to start as well, so I don't know, I think it's still low compression. We're gonna do another compression test just to make sure, and then I think we're gonna tear this thing down. All right, now that we ran it for a bit, let's see what the compression's at. Maybe it went up. Not even at 100. Yeah, this thing's definitely low compression. All right, let's get this top end torn down, see what's going on. All right, so my prediction for this one is that maybe the piston was the wrong size, or maybe it's in backwards, or maybe the rings, the gap is too big. Because I think it's got low compression causing the spark plug to foul out, and it must have had low compression right away because he only rode it for 5 hours, so. We'll see, let's start digging into it. We'll get the coolant drain first, and then we'll get the pipe off, the plastics off, and start digging into that top end. All right, coolant gets drained from this bolt right here. that off of there. Ooh, she's hot. Alright, slowly open this so it doesn't spray over everything. Actually, I don't know if I want to. It might spray out the top. Alright, let that drain for a bit and then we'll get the pipe off. Alright, we got the pipe off and everything else is off of it. So this one's kind of nice because the carburetor's way down here. Don't have to take off the carburetor or anything. Do the top end. So looks like we're gonna have to take this cover off right here to get to the power valve. But other than that, that's pretty much it. So these are just 12mm bolts up here for the head. Let's get those off. I don't know if those were torqued down or not. That was really loose. Alright, let's see what's going on underneath here. See if that head gasket's blown. Looks like a pretty good head gasket. I don't think it was blown. It doesn't appear to be. Here's what the head looks like. It looks good. Some carbon buildup on there though. On the, is that the exhaust side? Yeah. Remember the spark plug had some carbon on it. So it was building up carbon somewhere. Alright, let's work on getting the cylinder off next. Alright, just looking at the piston here. There's a lot of movement. So I think it's the wrong size piston in there. Look at that. Alright, power valve cover coming off here. And a 10mm in there. Alright, cover should come off. And that's just held on with that plastic clip there. We can see that clip down there. Looks like the power valves are moving up and down. So that's good. But this clip just comes, oh, it looks like it was broken. It comes off like that. We'll get the gasket off too. Now there's just these 4 nuts along the perimeter of the cylinder. We gotta get off. These are 16mm. This must be aftermarket. Alright, everything's off. Let's give this a little tap here. Alright. Looks like it's gonna come off fairly easily, hopefully. Looks like it might be stuck on the other side a little bit. Give it a quick tap. so it doesn't look too bad in there. Crank rod feels fine. No up and down play. A little bit of side to side. Piston rings aren't stuck or anything, which we confirmed with the oil down the cylinder. So that gave the correct reading. Let's see what the size of the piston is. I think it just might be stock. 6700, so I think that might be stock. So 67 millimeters rod is that. It says Pro Series on the rod. Here's what the rod looks like. Let's see what the cylinder looks like here. Doesn't look like any damage really. A couple light scratches that I can't get my fingernail in. Power valves look fine. They're not hanging over. So I think it was just the wrong size piston, pretty sure. We'll have to clean up the cylinder and check it out. There's a bunch of oil on it. Well, I think we found the problem. So I got the rings off the piston here. Putting the rings in. Look how big that ring gap is. Yeah. We definitely had the wrong size piston there. That ring gap is massive. I mean, I'm surprised I had that much compression, to be honest. That's the ring gap. And then I'll measure the piston bore here. So the piston measures, let's see here. This is the fattest part. 66.78 for the piston. At the bottom of the piston skirt. At the top it measures 66.71. And then the cylinder, let's see what this measures. Measure all angles. .29. I'm guessing it's bigger down here. Yep. So like 66.3 about is what the cylinder measures, and that should be at 67. That should not be that big. So it's 0.25 millimeters over bore. And the piston, you can see, is 67 right there. And that's like a worn piston because it's not even close to the right size. But you can see the rings are super worn too. But yeah, the piston was the wrong size for sure. So that's why it was super, super low compression. And that piston does not look that new, but maybe it is. There's a bunch of gas and crap on it. But yeah, those rings weren't doing much. So we found the culprit, at least. It looks like we might have to send the cylinder out and get that bored. We will see. But yeah, everything else on the bike looks pretty good. Power valves are moving, those look pretty good. So it was just the wrong piston in there. Vinny, what are you doing? He's getting into trouble over there. But we figured it out. It still ran like that, which is amazing. Two strokes always run. But yeah, it had low power when I was riding it, and I was like, yeah, I'm tearing it down. This thing should just wheelie like every gear. So anyway guys, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. Another mystery solved on this one. And I'm happy we figured it out. Stay tuned for next video. And until next time, we are out.